So today we will be draining the Samsung S24 till its last drop of juice left while using it on 5G. Now I'm gonna be using a Airtel 5G as both the Jio and Airtel 5G services are equally good in my area and both feels basically the same in day-to-day uses. Even though you might see the speed differences here, but practically it's not a big deal. And yeah, no Bluetooth or location was on during the test, with brightness in manual mode set to around 30 to 35%, with the sound set to around 80% in most cases with Dolby Atmos turned on. And the weather at this point of the day was around 32 to 33 degrees Celsius with the fan turned on to its max speed. So we are gonna start with BGMI for 1 hour. By mistake I wrote 1 hour 20 minutes here, but yeah, it's 1 hour in 120 FPS in smooth settings with a starting temperature of about 37 degrees Celsius with a full 100% battery life. And we are gonna play at least 4 rounds of TDM and then one full ranked match. And I noticed right off the bat that the FPS were fluctuating a lot, like barely maintaining like 105 FPS, let alone 120 FPS. But still I continued to play, and as usual I got an amazing team, and throughout the match the FPS went on going up and down like a roller coaster, with temperatures hitting around 41 to 42 degrees Celsius within the first few minutes. Then at the end of the first TDM I noticed I had set the performance to balance mode, hence this constant dips in FPS. So I set it to performance mode for the rest of the tests, and it was now maintaining a much healthier 110 to 118 FPS all throughout the match. Well, mostly. And the temperature was mostly stuck at 42 degrees Celsius, unlike last time that easily went above 42 degrees Celsius in TDM because I used no fan. And then I finished all of the 4 TDM matches, which took around 28 minutes, and then played the ranked match. And after the jump from the plane and all throughout the game, I did notice FPS inconsistency, but I mostly stayed at 100 to 105 FPS, so you can pick that an average and better than last time. And the temperatures were again mostly stable around 42 degrees Celsius. And after almost 29 minutes of running and hiding around, I got kicked out of the game, and yeah, we were now sitting at around 42 degrees Celsius. So yeah, about a 5 degrees Celsius increase while playing in this 1 hour of gaming with 120 FPS, and the battery was now at 76% left, so a 14% drop in 1 hour. Not bad or great either. Next I played an almost 1 hour long YouTube video at 1080p quality, which I think most people would do, with a 75% battery at initial stage and a 39 degrees Celsius starting temperature. And I'm playing this in full screen view with again 30 to 35% brightness in manual mode and around 80% volume with Dolby Atmos turned on. Now most of these tests that I chose were considered on the basis of practicality, so yeah, I didn't include any Antutu or Geekbench tests, as you could get the scores easily on the web, and we aren't gonna use that in daily, right? So yeah, after an hour the battery was sitting at around 65% with a temperature of over 36 degrees Celsius. So instead of increasing, the temperature decreased. And since I don't use or have any social media, and most people use them to watch short contents or reels anyways, so I did this 1 hour long YouTube shorts test. Again the brightness and sound remains the same with an initial temperature of over 36 degrees Celsius with a battery of 65%. And I think this vertical contents drains more battery and also consumes more internet than the normal ones, especially on Instagram. So after an hour of watching shorts, the temperature was now at 38 degrees Celsius with battery sitting at around 52%. So a 13% decrease in battery life, and I am not surprised. Next, since a lot of us do listen to music all throughout the day, I thought why not an 1 hour long Spotify test for the video. So I started the test with an initial temperature of over 38 degrees Celsius. Again the brightness and volume levels remains the same. Yes, I did notice the brightness never really automatically dropped down, so that's nice, since I believe the temperature wasn't hitting that high of a number. With a battery of 52% initially, and I'm gonna turn off the display as who listens to the music while looking at the music banner anyways. So after an hour the battery was sitting at a 40%, so a 12% decrease in battery life, which to be honest I didn't expect it to be this much, with a temperature of over 36 degrees Celsius. So again the temperatures dropped instead of increasing, but I didn't expect that to happen. Then I thought let's stress test it a little bit, so I turned on the CPU throttling for a 16 threads 15 minutes loop test with an initial temperature of over 36 degrees Celsius with a 40% battery left. And yeah, after 1 minute or so the temperatures rose up to 43 degrees Celsius and kept rising, which is expected in this kind of tests, as they test the phone very thoroughly. And after 15 minutes of the test the temperatures were around 45 degrees Celsius, so being the highest so far, with the battery now at 31%, so a 9% decrease in 15 minutes. And next I tested the 4K 30fps video recording for about 15 minutes with the starting temperatures of 39 degrees Celsius with a battery of 30%, and I didn't want to record just a black background, so I did the pen moving technique to make it refocus again and again so as to push the camera to do more rather than just recording a blank background, with also lens switching. And I did this for 10 minutes straight, and lastly at the 10 minutes mark I turned on the flash to record these takes for 5 minutes. And after this very scientific testing of 15 minutes I checked the temperature, and surprisingly it was still stuck at 39 degrees Celsius with a battery of 24% now, so just a 6% drain. And I do edit videos and photos or especially thumbnails from my phone, so I thought let's try to edit this video's possible thumbnail in around 30 minutes with the internet still on PicsArt. And the initial temperature was around 39 degrees Celsius with 24% battery left. And yeah, after like 26 minutes I finished a sort of a complete thumbnail for this particular video. But yeah, I might have to make changes since I don't know the results yet and might need to change a couple of things here and there later on. And the end of this editing test, the temperatures dropped to around 37 degrees Celsius with the battery now at sitting at 18%. So again a 6% drop only. But let's say you watch HDR content on Netflix or Amazon. How many episodes can you watch with this much amount of battery left? Well, to test that to the limits, I played a couple of 4K 60fps HDR videos on YouTube for about 34 minutes with the battery sitting at 18% now and with a temperature of about 37 degrees Celsius. And yeah, I guess this would consume a lot of battery, as not only the brightness is automatically getting cranked up or down more than usual as required, but also it is at 4K 60fps, which is sort of an overkill. But at the end of the test, the temperatures rose up to 42 degrees Celsius, similar to the 1 hour BGMI testing, with the battery now only at 7%, so an 11% drop in 30 minutes. And for the last 7%, I thought let's just play shots till it reaches a 0% and let's see how long can this 7% last. And almost 12 minutes later it gave up, with the last temperature recorded at 38 degrees Celsius, which was initially at 39 degrees Celsius. So a 7% battery on 5G while watching shorts could last you till 12 to 13 minutes more. And so a last 10% battery life would make it last around 20 minutes on 5G. And then I tested the charging with a 15 watt Samsung charger, as that's what I had for an official one, and after 30 minutes it was around at 30%, and then an hour later it was around 65%, and then after 1 hour and approximately 27 minutes it fully charged, which I forgot to take a screenshot of. With an official 25 watts charger, I would think it would take around 1 hour 20 minutes to charge, but again that is no longer a fast charging in 2025. And for idle drainage, I sleep for about almost 6 hours every day, and within that time period I have seen this to drop around 3% on 5G overnight. So overall it lasted for about 5 hours 42 minutes, which isn't bad though, but also it is an average battery life on 5G. So if you are a moderate user like me, then this could easily last you around 6 hours if used continuously on 5G, or almost a day if used once in a while. But this will vary from person to person, what type of task you are doing, and also how much traveling you are doing every day. And yes, a One UI 7 versus One UI 8 battery and heating test just like this will be coming up by Friday or Saturday, so stay subscribed for that, and watch this one for the initial gaming review of this particular one, or this one for the camera review of the S24. Do watch this, and as always till the next one, this was Rideep. See you guys.